show.
I got our bumper sticker.
Coming back. Okay. Now, was that in the same house that you like the Zoe Garden? Oh, okay, all right. He used to live in front of her. Okay. That's Becky and Robbie and Bud.
Yeah. No, this ain't a banana.
Yes.
That's because he's been living in Chicago so long.
Well, I know that. Your uncle and your dad.
Oh, he's not as tall as his daddy.
I am taller than him now.
But it seemed like in school, you know.
Who was your daddy?
Elliot. Yeah.
I just want to.
And I'm Elliot Jr. That's right.
That's right.
I'm the same kind of pronunciation.
He's running wide. He's got.
Elliot caught that girl in school.
Could I have everybody's attention a minute, please? Excuse me for interrupting. We want to record all of this too. So, what we'd like to do, we're glad everybody's here. I'm glad to see so many show up. What we'd like to do is, we want y'all to just, each one to get up and have a say of what they want to talk about or anything. Everybody has their own subjects and stuff. I know for myself, I have a few subjects I want to bring up to let y'all talk about. So if we can too, let's kind of keep it where one's telling a story. Let him go ahead and tell a story, and then somebody else want to add to it or change it. Then we'll change it
In
out.
other words, you want to get it all down page by page.
You're right.
Good God. I think that's about it. Oh, what I would like to do, if anybody minds, don't do it. But we'd like to, I know Gary wants it too, is we could go around getting each person's name and their age, if they don't mind.
We can say
I know those young girls
Well, I tell you, in that case, all the women can lose their
don't
men.
want to do that.
But no, again on this, we wanted to record all this for the history. Your kids and your grandkids and your grandkids and grandkids and all of that might want to know about all this one day.
Yes, all of these old people will be gone, but
That's
you'll
right.
still have it down.
That's right. Okay. Where you want to start?
Start with
Start with Mr. Smith right in.
Yeah, there you go. Stephen, why don't you come up?
Oh, I'm 84. I'll be 82 years old in May. Born and raised in Lewisburg and moved over in Lewisburg Swamp for the last 50, 60 years.
And you, Mr. Weldon Smith, correct?
That's bro Pedo they know me by.
Okay, Peter. That's who I know you by.
Yeah, you gotta give
And this is your wife?
Mrs. Pedo, Weldon Pedo Smith, Carolyn, and I'm, quite young. No, I don't mind telling you, I'm 70 years old, and just enjoy being Mrs. Weldon Smith, living in Lewisburg Swamp, as he calls it. You must come and see our swamp sometime.
I sure will. Thank you.
Now, you
Fritz. Tell us about you, Fritz.
I'm Frederick Minus. I'm 88 years old. I was born in Mandeville, raised in Mandeville.
What year were you born, Mr. Smith?
1904.
1904.
I will be 89 this December, if I'm still alive.
You'll make it.
And he quoted Cleo Glotner.
Yeah.
And should holler at him, come get a cup of coffee while he was working at Hug's Grocery.
I'm Marguerite Henrik Sprosh. This is my old home site. I was born, do I have to tell it? April the 15th, 1918. I've lived here all my life with my husband, Noel Frosh, who operates a barber shop up in Mandeville.
Put that
That's
plug in there, George.
Thank you.
I had a shop, born in Mandeville, on Monroe Street, in a little shotgun house. And the name of that little building is The Bug. It's still there. And let's move on over here.
How old are you?
I'm 83 years old. 83 in August. And I'd like to tell something about the Smiths. Now, this is a Smith here. There's 3 Smiths.
Well, wait a minute, Dave. We'd go back to that.
All right, go ahead around and we'll come back here.
We don't want to have a fight this early.
I'm Brandon Smith, Tito's brother, born and reared in Lewisburg, Malibu all my life. And I just got a service star for being married to Sally Rose for 52 years.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elliot Palmanant, born in New Orleans, raised over here in Mandeville, a good part of my life, and now living in picturesque Chicago.
Thank you.
Jules E. Walter Sr. I'm 81 years old. Well, I mean, I'll actually going to soon be 81. I've been living in Mandeville since 1919. And at present, I'm on Monroe Street, the same place wherever, my boy here come up at. And I have been around almost half of the world. That's it. Well, in the Navy, and what have you. And when things got tough here in Mandeville, I just had to get away from here. And I joined the CC camp because it was tough back in 1933. And I have, I'm in a son and a daughter, and I got a bunch of grandkids, and I got some great-grandkids. That's about it.
I'm Noel Frost, 77 years old. I was born here in Mandeville and came up as a commercial fisherman. Now I'm a barber. That's it.
I'm Dollar Rose Smith. I was 23 years old and didn't want to change my name, so I decided to marry another Smith. Born here in Mandeville on Girard Street and lived here all of my life. Married to Vernon Smith, better known as Honey.
Thank you.
I'm 75 years old.
I'm just here to listen.
Okay.
My name is Harold Emmons. I was born and raised in Abita Springs. We moved to Mandeville in 1940. I married Ursula Bourget, and we lived up until this past August at the old Bourget homestead on the Abita Highway.
My name is Ernest Brietta. I'm 58 years old. I was really not a lifetime resident of Mandeville. I was born in New Orleans and spent a whole week over there before I came back to Mandeville. I've lived in Mandeville all of my life. My father was Clay Brietta, my mother Elizabeth Malloy Brietta. I married to Marietta Hansfield, and we have 3 children, Marlise Brietta, Clay Carl Brietta, and Ernie Brietta. And I'm going to take note of all the lies that these people say today. And I would talk to Morris Bard about bringing suit against us.
Let's see, Mr. Griffin.
I'm Ernest Griffin. I'm age 75. I'm just a young fellow around here, with these old timers. And I was born and raised in Mandeville, lived in New Orleans for 30 years, and retired and moved back to Mandeville, and I'm back here for 25 years now. And well, that's about all. I have one son, Ernest, and it seems like they got a lot of Ernests around here. It was all named after this man over here, grandfather. And that's about it.
My daddy built the smokehouse. That was a hurricane house. He put the posts. He built what we ended up a potato house, but he really built it in case when hurricanes come. They had the post was 4 feet in the ground, 6 posts. It was about 8 feet wide, about 10 feet long. There were 6 fat fine posts holding that thing in the ground. That post was 4 feet in the ground. Circus come to Mandeville. My daddy kept his feed for a horse. We had an old horse. He'd go to Lewisburg. The mill was running there. And he had an old horse he had bought for $25 from Ernest Prieta. It was crippled. It would get down and couldn't get up. You had to help it up. It had a bad leg in the front. Should get rheumatism in it. My daddy would take that old horse and drive to Lewisburg and sell fruit and vegetables. And the circus come to town. We had a picket fence in the back. The mare was in foal. She'd been foal about 6 months. And when that circus come to town, they had the elephant in there. This elephant's name was Roger. And I went over there to look at that elephant, and he was rocking back and forth. Man told me if I went and get a bucket of water, he'd give me a pass to get in the circus for nothing that night. So I went and got 2 or 3 buckets of water, but I couldn't fill that elephant up. Anyhow, that night, they had a squall come up. The elephant broke loose, went down by Monet's house where Elliot and them was kids. Stepped on, it wasn't a page fence, but it was a heavy fence all the way around the school. The old block, or a half a block. And the elephant stepped on that fence and pushed it down. Come on through the yard. My daddy's vegetable garden, pulled up the pecan trees and threw them out of the way. Well, he stepped, there was a spot that big. Old nigger Uncle Lewis had to take 2 wheelbarrows of dirt to fill up each footprint. He went over there by that smokehouse. My daddy could hear feed pouring in the barrel, and he thought one of the circus men was stealing the feed. So he took this old single-barrel shotgun, put a load of shots in it, slipped up to the door, eased the door open, and when a lightning flash, an elephant was done pushed that smokehouse over and was eating feed out of the barrel. He ate a sack of cracked corn and a barrel of oats by the time my daddy found it there. When that lightning flashed, he looked up just 10 feet up from me, seen that elephant's ear flopping like that. He eased back in and locked the door. And Robert said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I'm scared to tell you." He went to the front door and called that fella that tended to the elephants. He heard him that day calling to come tend to the elephants. And he called that man started calling that elephant from out in the street. He didn't come in and call him, he called out, kept outside calling. And finally, until that elephant went to grunting and groaning, then he come in there to him. He didn't want to come off on him all at once, he said. And he come in there and started beating that elephant on the nose and backed him out all the way over to the circus. Tied him up again. I want to tell you about the Smiths now. I'm working on helping this girl with that book. You might know Peter, the name Eveline.
Yep.
David.
Yep. And Eveline. And
Well,
Eveline is right.
Uncle Louis. Smith, Robert Weston Smith married Spell's daughter, Evelina, his oldest daughter. And they had 3 children, and 3 boys. One was named Robert. That was the Lewisburg Smiths, come from Robert.
Yeah.
They had another one named Tom. That was the William Smith family, come from Tom. And Philip Smith Bunch came from a fellow named Goodby Smith. Goodby Smith was the father of Philip Smith Sr. Philip Smith Sr. was the father of Bay, Doc, Darling, and the rest of the bunch down that bar. But Tom Smith was the father of the William Smith bunch. That's the three of them. He died when he was about 30 years old, Weston Smith, Robert Weston Smith. She married again. Now that goes into a different name, the children coming from them. But that's where the Smiths come from.
I'm so glad you told me.
I didn't know it.
I knew you had a Smith son laying around somewhere.
Somewhere.
Well, now they're trying to find where Robert Weston Smith come from, and they're having trouble with that.
Who's looking for him?
Doris Holden.
You're looking for him?
Yeah.
Now, what's the name is back in the genealogy of the Smiths in Baton Rouge?
Oh, Marguerite David's daughter. Lamazan?
Yeah, what about her?
She's making a genealogy of the Smith, but she don't have anything like that.
No, she didn't go back as far as you did, for sure. How many Smiths
I
were
was
there?
1764 or 74, around 1774.
You got that written on paper?
Yeah. That's all the birth certificates, census reports. That's where it all comes from. Plenty of it. You had to get that at the St. Louis Cathedral in town. And at that time, we was under Spanish rule, and all children, regardless of what religion you were, all children were christened Catholic and given a Spanish-type name. You see, Eveline, you'd call it E, but they ended it up with an O to make it sound Spanish. All children was christened Catholic at that time when we were under Spanish rule.
No wonder we don't have room in our church here.
Mr. Vernon, you got something?
Oh, mine goes way back to when we were kids. I was hoping Piggy would be here, but he's not. But we used to have a community bathhouse down there. And we all used to go swimming. And whoever owned the bathing suit had it on, he went in first. Then he would take it off and throw it back. And the one who went in last came out first. We never did go in buck naked. We'd always have something on.
Y'all weren't modern in those days.
Yeah.
Where was that bathhouse?
On the other end of Lewisburg, in front of the old Muller place. I think Coynes lived there at that time, and the Levertons were living in the back end of their property in the house back there on Copal Street.
What's the freeze old property?
No. Oh, that was after that.
No, it was.
Or before that. No, it was after that, I'm sorry. That was when he moved over on at the end of Hoynes' place. And we never did wear that bathing suit out.
Mr. Manette?
Jules, hey, well, me and Edgar Shaw used to be off the bars when I was a kid when I come into Mandeville, and I never will forget the damn thing as long as I live. And also your daddy, Elliot, wasn't it?
Elliot was also part.
Elliot and also Henry, huh?
Oh.
Yeah.
And that was in,
Gaspar Kachariot, Junior Kachariot, David Archer.
That's the one I was thinking about too, the one that shot the horse that time.
That was David Archer. Harry.
Boy, he was a character.
Harry never was an altar boy. Harry. That was on his excursion.
The funny thing about me, I can go any place in this world and I'll run into some character, and if he's there, I'm going to meet him. And I've been that way all my life. But that old David boy, he was something. I mean, as a boy, I mean, he scrapped. Man, he'd rather fight than eat.
They shot old man,
old man Schaefer.
Old man Schaefer's horse.
Tell the whole story of it, Edgar.
I don't think I'd go that far. I mean, my brother was in it, and I had just got my tail away from all that.
Tell them why they shot the dog, why they shot the horse, that old white horse. He used to take and leave that horse out there in the lot where we used to play ball. Well, the horse would mess all over the damn ground, and we'd slide in it. So Harry come along there one day, him and John, and said, we're gonna get rid of that damn horse. He said, so Harry took the gun and he shot him. Oh, he said, Harry, shoot him again. He only jumped. So Harry shoots him again.
Yeah, but old man Hunter's friend is the guy that used to give him the hard gold. I mean, old man Hunter's, when I was a boy, hell, he used to help him around and I would ride the woods with him and everything else. Me and Clay.
But this old horse, old man Schaefer's horse, when he died, the horse died, old man Schaefer had old man Tony Predator to pay for that horse. And he took it, and Robbie had to pay so much too, because he was there with him. So, and don't think old man Tony Predator didn't lay it on both of them. He used that belt.
Mr. Judge, while you're talking about that with the being altar boys, that was something I was asking Daddy. The old Catholic church that faced Jefferson Street and the old school that faced Lafitte Street, was that the first, say, original buildings of the Catholic school?
Well, there used to be, when I come here, maybe you remember it, there was a little old church set in by old man Edmond Bolo. Do you remember that?
Right across
the first Catholic church in Mandeville was built by Maroney, and that was a half a block towards the swamp from Willie Naylor's house.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right in that corner.
That was only for the older.
No,
what?
No, that Father Aye was the priest. That he built a 3-story college in Mandeville around 18. It was the early 1800s. He built a Catholic college in Mandeville, 3-story building. That was what we call Old Colored Sisters building today. They tell me recently they took the top story off and improved it some. But Willie Naylor complains, he says, Father, I never had any business selling that church that was down there because that was supposed to stay there. Because Maroney had dedicated it for the town, you see. But once it becomes into the diocese property, they can do anything they want.
Well, how did they ever get rid of the old town of St. Anne that was in Lewisburg? Because I used to go there with Father Thomas.
The St. Anne was donated by Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Did
that
was
dedicated by Joseph Smith for a church, and it was the St. Anne.
I was altar boy down there. I know all about that.
Well, later on it became St. Anne.
Somebody that bought out the Soniacs. I can't think of his name.
Charles Peck.
No. Bree's father, Canisius, pawned some money, and he changed the name to St. Anne.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was his mother, his wife.
Oh, that must have been
before it was a church,
it was a school.
It was a school. They
had school too there.
Yeah.
They had school, they had church on Sunday. On Sunday they had church.
Tommy was this a young man, and Mama's, he wanted to open a dance hall. And they only had brothers and sisters, that's all there was. Louis,
yeah.
All Smiths, and Davies was his
was Smith, right.
sister to our father.
Excuse me,
And,
Mr. Speedo. Can I get you to change spaces with Herman over there so I can get all y'all in one? We're having problems.
Get what I'm talking about. Let me get my leg around.
Well, they won't sit in there.
It's a bad place to meet. I can't get out over there too. That's all right.
Would you like a chair?
Oh, they saw it.
He's got Manette's chair.
Okay.
Take that one
Then
now.
he can go back over here. We don't want you to move.
Well, I'm gonna move over there.
Okay.
Go there.
Y'all get on the same man.
That almost big cap, that big tail.
Chairs.
I wouldn't dare compete. Yeah. We wouldn't dare steal that.
I'm going further back in there if you can remember. The old church used to be about a block over in an old shotgun house. And when the school left, we had from the first to the 6th or 8th grade in that school. If anyone remembers Eleanor Coffey,
I do.
she was my first
teacher.
grade teacher yet.
Mine too.
And she taught all 6th or 8th grades, whatever we had. And
all in one room.
All in one room. It was all a one-room deal. And Miss Deskinos used to drive the school bus with a tally-ho with 2 old horses and take the upper grades to Manor. And it's sitting there next to the Sharp's old place. It's still there. They tore it down and moved it around some. And let's see if I can follow that through. And then they moved the whole school to Manor. And then the church moved. That's when my brother started to make a dance hall at it. And they had a bunch of youngsters used to go there, and they had about 2 dances. And they went down there one Monday morning to clean it up, and someone had poured tar on the floor.
So they wouldn't dance anymore.
So they wouldn't dance anymore. The old tar's still there. Well, I went in there when they and saw where they had cleaned it, and the tar spot is still there. My mother was a Jew, as you all know. We was kin to the Levi's. And she was, well, yeah, that was my mama's sister, brother. And she said, well, them, if they won't make a dance hall out of it, they don't want us to dance, we'll make a church out of it. So she got the 4 or 5 sisters and brother-in-laws together and said, let's start a church. So the only place we could get a preacher was from the, a priest was from the Abbey. And they had to agree to feed them breakfast and to keep the clothes and napkins and what not, the altar clean.
Altar clothes.
Yeah, altar clothes. And when each one was going to take turns. And that day we were running the dairy. When we had chickens and eggs and cream cheese, and the priest liked Mama's place so much, he came there all the time. So the rest of them got out of feeding Mama fed. Father Thomas.
Yep,
he was one of the first ones.
Yeah, is that right?
And he ran off with the housekeeper.
Still has it.
He ran off with Parmesan.
Parmesan.
If you remember, Paul and used to make cakes and stuff and bring to the priest.
That's what
and
you
one
thought.
morning I was altar boy, and he stood up on the altar, and he says, there's a lady in the audience that's aggravating at me, and if she don't quit, I'm going to expose her name to the church, to the congregation. And the next thing I knew, some of us done went down there to serve at Mass, and Father Thomas was gone. Somebody had to come from the Abbey.
He exposed them.
I was in that, well, they had a big persimmon tree there. And I was getting me a whole big bucket full of, I mean, they were good persimmons.
And he was eating cake.
He come out that back door with that shotgun and shot over my head. I fell out of that tree. It's a done one. Heck, I didn't kill myself. A little Harry Predator, I believe, was up there with me or somebody. We left. He could do some heck of a things.
Like I told you, my mother was a Jew and she could say anything. She ran Lewisburg. Man, to it, they let her get down.
His mother married Robert Smith Boyce.
And then Sidney.
She had Cooley. Up she had Tommy and Henry.
You thought that the bottom and going up.
Well, I'm about to get to
She had
six sons.
Then Robert died, then she married his brother Sid.
Robert was the oldest one and Bobby was the youngest one in the family.
And then that's where we come along with
Two sets
Tito
of Smith.
and Honey and Sydney. When we leaving Sydney.
Sydney and Ellen, Tito
Ellen.
and
Those nicknames.
me.
Do y'all ever see Ellen's show?
Yeah. Ernest comes over every Christmas and sees us.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he's at the house.
Let me get back to the church.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what went on at the church. I'm a good Catholic. Anyway, the priest used to come home like I used to. Every Sunday morning I'd eat breakfast with him. And this Sunday morning, I don't know why the subject come up, but the subject comes up about the kids, just like we got so many kids that don't know who the daddies are and all of that. And Mama comes out the kitchen with a popcorn.
That's Coach.
And give him
That's
his
what
coat.
Coach you may talk about.
Yeah, Woods coats. And she said if your damn priest would wear your pants and wear your collar, there wouldn't be so damn many orphans. I'll never forget that. This priest was a youngster. He was, in his 20s, I would say. And 30 or 40 years after that, this same priest was at a convention or something in Covington. And I was wondering, I said, I wonder if he'd recognize me. And I went up to shook hands with him and he looked at me. He says, I never did change away from my collar fit. Remember that? That was not it. That's the truth.
Whether that was the one that ran away with the housekeeper?
What priest was
No,
that?
that wasn't the one running away with the housekeeper. I can't even call his name.
Father Thomas is the one running away with.
Yeah, Father Thomas.
Thomas is the one running away with.
Father, you get back to old Father Aye that opened the first college, Catholic college in Mandeville. That's what we're
where
talking
the
about, the
nigger
college.
school was.
Father Aye. So Father Aye had a nephew in France that wanted to come to the New World. So he writes to him and he sponsors his nephew. And the name of this college was St. Eugene. So he sends and get his nephew and brings him to the New World, to Mandeville. He had to have a trade to get here. And his trade was he was a gardener. And he stayed in Mandeville, and we knew him as Eugene Escanos. That was Father Aye's nephew. His name was Eugene, but it was Eugene in French.
You forgot to tell him what
That's a new one I never heard.
Mama joined the Catholic Church before she died.
She was buried in the Catholic Church. And I
joined
don't
the
believe
Catholic
she
Church.
ever, I don't remember ever
And
joining.
there's Sonia took it down.
Well, she was a Jew, but she was a cool Jew.
She raised us all Catholic
And
anyway.
she joined the Catholic Church a year or two before she
Jimmy
died.
Connaughton was married to my cousin, Jean Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And, well, they raised all their children
You
Catholic.
almost got in the Smith family, huh?
Damn yeah.
All kind of ways.
We never did claim to be sure.
You didn't have to. That cost up back there $2-3.
Let's go around.
Yeah.
Daddy, you want?
Well, my grandparents on my father's side came from Alsace-Lorraine in 1850 and settled here in Mandeville. And I was raised up as a commercial fisherman, and everybody knows all the shrimp they used to have to out there, and Clay Prater had to go get somebody to mark that seawall off 10 feet in sections, and that's all they allowed one person to have was one 10-foot section. So there was one man here, he had a couple of trades, so he got caught one day too late, and he got out there and he couldn't find a place to shrimp. So he kept walking up and down the wall. He says, all I want is enough shrimp to stuff a few sweet peppers. So one stranger said, well, here, Cap, take my place. Fella run to his truck and got his number 3 wash tub out. Come there, and just by that time the shrimp hit the seawall. That old tub was running over with shrimp. That fella said, I wonder how many sweet peppers do you have this morning?
That was Leroy Smith.
So, after they were building this Bonacare spillway, I said, well, that's going to be the end of Lake Pontchartrain. So I decided I better find me something else to do. So I decided to go take up barbering. Well, let me back up a little bit here. My daddy was going to be a barber, and he had him a shop right behind Ernest store there where the old post office was. And just across the street from him was Ollie Bridget, had a barber shop there. So I done just before my daddy got ready to open the shop, Ollie Bridget bought him out. So he never did go do any barbering then. So the barbers we had after that was Steve Josie, had his shop on Girard and Jefferson Street. And then Poisson had one at the end of Claiborne and Carroll Street. And then there was another Poisson had one by Levy's store.
That was Henry.
So
That was Arthur.
Arthur, yeah. That was
Right, Arthur.
Arthur, the other one was Boy Poisson.
Yeah, and there's one up on Lewisburg Road.
Yeah,
on
well,
Monroe.
That was Arthur used to clean
Yeah.
up there.
Well, Arthur closed up. Well, let Joe
You see, then they passed a law where you had to have a license to operate a barber shop, and you had to have a health certificate every year to get your license. So that's when Arthur, he closed up by Levy's and went up by where Pre-Stress is and opened the shop.
In the house there.
Yeah, cut hair there.
2 bits of head.
Yeah. So then after that, a fellow by the name of Claude Foray, he came open a shop where I'm at now on the corner of Jefferson and Girard. So then Claude Poisson, he went taking up barbering. He barbered with his daddy for a while. Well then, I don't know, something happened there. And after Claude Foray moved out, Claude Poisson moved in there and had his shop there. So then Bob Davis came along and he opened a shop in the St. Tammany Hotel.
Yep.
And well, from there he moved to by Morgan's Grocery.
Yep.
So then I come along and I open a shop on Monroe Street, right where Jules Walter lives now.
Yep.
So I stayed there about 6 months and like to starve to death, so I went out to barber business. So then, after Claude moved out of that shop, well then I went and rented that one and finally bought the property. And then there was a fella came there, I can't remember his name, but he opened a shop between where Dutz's had his shop there, and then barroom had but I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
Well,
I mean, I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
Well, then Harry Lemons come, and he opened barber shop there on the Feed Street. And then Al Barbier, he opened a shop on Montgomery and Girard Street. And it looked like they all barbered until they died. And it looked like I'm going to do the same thing. The only one that had any sense was Harry Lemons. He got rich and retired.
I like to starve to death, that's why You pulled a good joke on Al Barbier with those
That's
white.
what that little shop was.
Yeah.
Al Barbier was the guy who had that little shop.
Yeah, on where
Next
the
to
grill
Dutch.
shop is down there, where
Next
the
to
bar
Dutch.
is.
Next to Dutch's old garage. That's who ran that shop.
No, there was another one there.
There's
now.
another one there too?
Yeah, there was another one there. Because he come there and he wanted to buy my place. Not the other one didn't want to sell it. So then he come back later and I said, well look, I said, I'd like to go back commercial fishing. How about you and I working together and I'll just come in and work in the evening. And so he said, well, I'll let you know. And he come back and he said, why you want me to work for you? And he said, you must have 2 chairs. I said, no, I didn't ask you to work for me. I asked you to work with me. He said, well, I'll take one of the chairs off your hands. I said, it's been sitting there for a number of years since old man Steve Josie had it. I said, and it hadn't cost me a penny. So he said, well, I'll open a shop and put you out of business. So that's when he went and opened that shop down there, and he stayed there about 6 months, and he left.
Well, then Arthur Poisson quit Malvern down by Levis because they wanted to make him charge 35 cents a haircut.
That's right.
He was charging 2 bits a haircut. 2 bits, 15 cents for shave, 2 bits for a haircut.
That's right.
So they come there and told Boy Poisson that he'd have to go up to 35 cents. He said, well, he said, all the people ain't got no money. 2 bits is enough. He said, but if you want me to go to 35, I'll go to 35. So then they went down and told Arthur. And Arthur said, we ain't got enough money. People ain't got enough money. I can charge what I want. So they told him, well, I have to close you up. You won't get no license. So that's when he moved up there and put his barber. He put his barber chair in the back of that little shed up there in the back of his house on.
And any change you had in your pocket, I mean, you give it to him. If it was 20 cents, he took it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Old man Steve Josie used to take and cut your hair, give you a shave,
and give you a
glass of wine. In the back room.
When we moved in that house,
he shaked you to death.
when we moved in that house, in the center part of the house, which we call the living room, there was a hole in the floor.
Trap door in the floor.
Huh?
Trap door.
A trap door.
They used to keep it.
And that's where he, where I understand he kept his booze.
Getting back to the Levi's, when my dad had the baker shop across the street, we used to sit on them steps in the front when they had a funeral. And old man Zizzy Levi used to take and drive the hoist. Old man Beer Horse used to come sitting up there on the top with that, put them horses, and he'd get down and go in the back, they'd go into church with the coffin. Man Zizzy used to wear that little black derby. We'd sit over in the front and watch him what he's gonna do. And he'd get down on the side of that chair. As soon as they get in the church, he'd take that black derby off and put it in the front like that. And he'd get that bottle of wine behind the derby. And he'd be looking in the church. He'd put it down. He'd get 2 shots before they drink that place.
Old man Levy used to always come talk to me. I had them steps, you know, went all the way down to the sidewalk. Every day, old man ZZ would come there and talk to me. He'd never get a haircut. So I never could wonder. I wondered why in the world would that fella come in there to talk to me. And I found out that's where he was hiding his whiskey under my steps.
Edgar, what was the the Levi that had the newspaper? You remember ZZ?
Oh, that was Rosenthal.
That's right.
That was Rosenthal had that.
Rosenthal and Hudson had that.
What was it? Selleck? He was a character.
That was Leon them's daddy.
Yeah.
Aaron them's daddy.
Selleck Rosenthal. You're right. I thought it was Levy.
No, it was Rosenthal.
Old man Zizzy, my mother would tell me, go down there and get some pork chops or something. I go down there and he'd get that hand saw and he'd cut. Put his hand right underneath that paper and lay it up on there. Look at that, son. Right on the money. He had his thumb right on the
In those, I don't think 90% of those old folks, they couldn't read or write. I remember back when, a long time, when for some reason, Papa ran a milk route and stopped at Levi's. Old Leopold was there at the time. He was kin to Mama. And Papa bought a grindstone there at a hardware store. He sold everything in that old store. Bought a grindstone from him and didn't pay him. At the end of the month, Leopold sent him a bill, and Papa, just like we do now, throwed it down to the wife, and she looked at it and had a charge for cheese, a round cheese. She drew the picture of the cheese.
Forgot to put the hole in it.
Forgot to put the hole in it, the grindstone, and Mama called him up and chewed him out and said, we never bought a cheese, all the milk and cheese clabber we got, we wouldn't buy it. Come to find out it was the grindstone she was getting.
Uncle Alphonse Depre, the old man, he couldn't read or write either. Because see, here he and my great-grandmother were sisters, and sisters to Harriet Dupre, and my great-grandmother, and Alphonse, and Gus Dupre. That was two sisters and two brothers. They were raised in Lewisburg. And mother and father died when the two girls was older than the two boys. And Harriet took her little brother, Gus, and raised him when she got married to Smith. And the other one took Ponce, Johnny and them's daddy, and raised him.
Who was the Harriet Smith that married Robert Smith? I mean, Harriet Depre married Robert Smith.
She married Robert.
Yeah.
Harriet,
Now,
that's right.
that's
She
her
was
grandmother.
Depre.
Yeah,
She
that's
was
her
Depre.
grandmother.
Yeah, that's right.
Jules and Robbie and I used to be altar boys there at the church. And Robbie and I used to get, Porter Thomas had this, what was this old colored woman's name that was there?
She was Lloyd.
What's her name? You remember?
No. I mean, the last name
Well, anyway,
was Lloyd,
she
but I
had
can't
charge
think
of
of the first name.
taking care of things for him and all. So they used to come, wine used to come in little barrels about that big. Well, our job was to siphon it off and put it in the bottles.
The hell was that girl's name?
Can't call her name. Well, anyway, Robbie and I'd get there and we'd siphon it, put it in the bottles, you know, every now and then. Well, if you lose it, you know what I mean? You got Angelina.
Angelina, that's it.
That's the one I was
That was her name.
She said,
She
you
was
boys
a
are
housekeeper.
going to get sick.
She was
We
a
got
housekeeper.
dizzy a few times, I'll tell you.
Angelina Lloyd.
She was the housekeeper.
Let me ask y'all a question a minute. Would y'all want to take a break a minute and get a Coke or some coffee and some chips or something?
I may have a little coffee.
Why don't we just take a break and just stretch a little bit too?
The
You
school.
didn't even open it. Oh, yeah?
Here's the school right here.
We got some political stuff there.
From way over here.
Notice I had to fix this
Here's the
up.
school.
Okay, it showed you how that.
Yeah, that's the old
Yeah.
school, yeah.
This is the Northern House. That's a bell tower right over here.
Yeah, that's the one was across the street.
This was the color school. You got the one over there across the street.
You get
No, that ain't the color school. That ain't the
Oh,
color
yeah,
school.
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'll just take one for Bernie.
That's when we were still
If
going.
you pass this here, you're going towards the lake. Griffin's over across the street from here, almost, but a little bit further to the lake. Griffin's Bakery. A Bodo's Grocery.
That's for you to keep.
Those barrooms.
It must be a short. I ain't got my grade.
Barnum was out in.
Did your mother tell you I called her the other day?
Bodo had grocery right on the corner where Griffin's Bakery was.
And Mrs. Johnson, Adelaide.
I didn't know he had grocery there.
Grandma was there and a bunch of them, and they had a lot of cats.
Edmo was married to your sister, or your daddy's sister, O'Neill. Yeah. O'Neill.
That was on north.
She was married, she had one son named Douglas. Her husband died, and then she married Woodall again. And then Douglas died with the flu in 1918. She died young. She was so happy.
She said, yes, I remember that.
Boy, it was just a little they had Douglas laid out in front, and his mama didn't know it.
Well, I think he's tired of grass.
Laid out in front. Boy, you come through this.
Now. The apartment complex. But when it does, we'll go in.
Do you know any of these on here?
Okay, y'all want to get Mr. Howard? You want to tell us what you know about it?
Names, I think.
You ain't got the Griffin yet.
Okay.
That's big right there.
Well, they had a little boy here lived here many years ago.
I wouldn't know anything. I got
Henry
I'll be reading it.
Naomi.
And Shoulda West had a garage across the street from the bakery shop. He used to always be around there. And he had this batteries where he charged these batteries. And that's the dampness on this thing. They used to come on in, they'd put a nickel up there, and little Henry Robert, he'd always there to run around. Try to get that nickel
I've seen
off.
this picture before.
He'd knock one off once in a while, they'd shock him and get back at it. One day he come down, should have got a hold of some oil and mustard. And they had Henry trying to get it off there, and he kept on. All of a sudden, they poured that oil and mustard on him when he was leaning over. And he was, all of a sudden it started to burn him, and he didn't know what happened. He grabbed at his rear and took off for the beach. When he got to Levi's, they had a little well in the front that they used to have there for horses to drink out of, and it was a little old lard can, about 50 gallons. But when he got to Levi's corner there, he sat down in that water, man, to cool it off. So he got back up, took off again. He was going to Williams drugstore to see if he could get some help. He was on fire. Well, the lake looked too good to him. He couldn't turn in there, so he went over in the lake and wiped down the lake. And there's a lady here, her father used to have an airplane. When airplanes was first starting out, and they had a fellow by the name of Luke, used to be by the name of Luke, I gotta say colored now.
Afro-American.
Well,
He's still behind.
and he used to bring the gasoline out there to the plane. So he puts it there. So old Luke took it to him, bring some oil out there. So he brought out oil out there a few times. He said, Mr. Kuby, he said, I'd sure like to take a ride that day. Kuby one day told him, all right, I'm going to take you up today. And he says, I just want to fly straight. I don't want to. Well, there's another story to it. Instead of flying straight, he'd done everything they could do with that plane. And he had it wired up with bale wire and everything. Well, the nigger turned white.
He flew over Cook's garage upside down. The nigger's hat come off.
Kuby brought him back. And when he brought him back, he lost his mind. He had to go to Charity Hospital.
He never did get right.
Never did get right after that. Well, how about you, Mr. Lemon? You tell us something for something.
I don't know
laugh
too
a
much.
little. About you,
All I know is what I was told. I remember Skinny Bojay. All this stuff they talk about, I know it's true because she didn't lie. That's about all I know. I know what he's talking about, the sharks. I know what he's talking about, the colored dude with the airplane flying. Is that Hansberg that had the airplane?
Yeah.
Calvin Hansberg had the plane. I remember all of that. But listen to some of these other people talk. I remember you talking about the
I
priest
know
that ran
about
off.
I heard all
I mean, I didn't know that because I didn't live here, but I remember her telling me that.
I'll tell you what Aunt Jenny did tell you, them sharks wasn't no good. There was a bunch of no counts.
She didn't say that. She didn't
She
mean
said,
it, though.
she said that was a bunch of no counts.
She might say that, but she didn't really mean it.
Uncle Jack, she said Uncle Jack had to hire people to come walk and brand the calves for him. And boys was no count. There wasn't no count.
Well, maybe that was Tootsy's dad she's talking about.
Well, it was my grandfather and Zachariah Shaw, Cootsy's daddy, and Elia Shaw. They all, she said, when it come time to brand the calves, they always had to go to Mandeville. They'd prim up, get dressed, get the horse saddle, and go to Mandeville instead of helping the old man. And I'll tell you who else, Maurice Shaw told me, his daddy used to go help old man Zachariah Shaw mark and brand these calves. He couldn't get them. And when they sold plenty of their cattle, they sold them to Ernest Frietta, this boy's grandfather. And he told they, instead of them bunching them up, they told Ernest to have them bunched up and give us a tally on them. We know what the tally is. And when they tallied them up, he says, y'all was wrong, boys. Y'all was run short. He said, well, that's all right. They said, that's all right. Pay us what they was worth. You was asking me about that little piece of land, Elia Shark, you know, from Jackson Avenue that way. Elia said on that, from the railroad track, they had a big a thing to put feed and stuff in there. I don't know. Silo. That big silo. I don't know if Elias had that silo on there or if your grandfather put the silo on it.
Old man Corella put that silo on. He owned from the railroad all the way back.
Yeah, well, he bought that from my great-uncle Elias.
Great-uncle, and he gave him 2 barrels of flour for that. I was there at that transaction. 2 barrels of flour.
2 barrels of flour?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what, he had told my uncle, great-uncle, they could give him a job in New Orleans. And he did. He managed some way to get him a job in New Orleans. So that's why he sold the land to Ernest, because he moved away. He sold the cattle and the land to Ernest, and he moved to New Orleans.
But he kept it in the family.
But he wasn't over there long, and the job run out. Well, then he went to Ponchatoula, and that's his family stayed up in that area.
But he kept those cows in the Shaw family.
Oh yeah, they stayed in the
My
family.
great-great-grandmother was Pauline Shaw.
Well, that's right on, Charlie, right on.
That was his mama. So he kept those cattle in the family.
But I heard they were lazy. They didn't tend to the cattle like they should. And Aunt Jenny said that they work in the field, the girls and the boys work in the field in the morning. They like till noon, and then they'd come in and eat, and then take a nap. And then after they got up, go back in the field, the girls and the old man would go back in the field. But the boys would dress up and go to Mandeville. That's what she was talking about. It wasn't no good. They were no accounts.
Ernest brother used to get 2 carloads of cottonseed hull and a carload of cottonseed meal. And all the poor cows he brought right in Mandeville there, where the old grocery store was, and fed those cows under there during the winter. Because I know he'd never cleaned the cars out. He'd come tell my daddy, he said, go ahead and clean them out. We always got enough cottonseed hull, cottonseed meal to feed Lyle's cows the whole winter.
You know why he did that, Mr. Miller?
Why?
Because if that cow died, he pushed that bugger up. Got Fritz there. He sold that. If he died out in the woods, he could.
Talking about them cows, can't even hide. One evening, your grandfather, he said, Bub, what you doing tomorrow morning? I don't know that now.
Yeah, I thought Elliot looks to be about 14 there. We're trying to guess how
guy
she's
used to cut meat. What was his name?
Anton, Fritz?
No, the one killed
Sonny Marcus?
The one that killed himself.
Let me show her.
Black Red Jack.
Okay.
He said, take Mac and that little nigga that used to ride. Colored guy used to
This is
ride.
the cafeteria.
Used to ride for him.
I went to school there.
Would you bring them out there on the East Louisiana Road? He says, they got I got a bull out there, an old Bremer bull, he says, and we done tipped him one time. That's when they was doing that tipping.
Yeah.
He said, man, he said, we can't get him in. So I said, yeah, I'll bring him out there. 5 o'clock in the morning. I said, what truck do you want to take? He said, take that new one I just bought. New truck. They loaded the horses on, drove them out there. They took the horses out, they went and got that bull back in there, and they drug him all the way through. They drug him into the truck. I backed him down the ditch so they could drag him up in and tied his head down. They would come on back to Dillon Snyder's where they had to get him back. Got him out, went back to the truck up. About 3 or 4 days after that or something, I went by the store there. Mac Richards said, you better get out of here, man. He said, Preston, man, is he mad at you? Boy, he's mad. You better get out of here quick. I said, well, hell, I ain't done him the harm what I did him. I don't know what the hell went on. First thing you know, he was over there getting coffee by his mother. Here he comes. Do. God, I don't want to say the words he said, but boy, he called me everything under the sun. What the heck do you? He says, do me. Damn it, the hell, you know, on a Tuesday I always go to town to get stuff. He said, you took that new truck? And he said, man, he says, when I get over to the French market, he says, it cost me $3, he said, to get a guy to clean the truck out. And boy, he was going on. I said, well, who is the boss around here anyway? I said, your daddy told me to take this truck. I don't care who the boss is. The old man sitting over there by his desk, you know, listening to all this, laughing up his sleeve. He gets up, he says, I told him to take that new truck. I paid for it. That was the end. I ain't worried no more. That was the end.
Mr. Fritz, you got something?
Come on, Fritz, give us one.
Come on.
I just listened to what they said. That's all the same things I know.
You agreeing with them or calling them a bunch of liars?
That's right.
That's right.
On one of these papers I passed out is a copy of one of the steamer Madisonville, I believe, huh? Yeah. If y'all would talk about some of them old steamboats. Anybody remembers any of that? Those different ones they had.
You ought to remember the Camellia.
No,
You don't remember the Camellia?
I thought I rode on a Camellia, but evidently I didn't, because I rode on one that had a wheel on each side. But I know the Camellia had a wheel on each side, but evidently it was some other boat. There was some other boat that had a wheel on each side.
Well, what were the different ones that came from Mandevillians?
Camellia was the first one.
Camellia, Pleasure.
Yeah, a little boat called a reverie.
The Joseph Weaver is the one that pulled the walk down with the people on it. The captain was drunk. And he pulled it down, and there was an old nigger. He saved a lot of people, not a good to keep up. That was the Joseph Weaver.
Reverie and the flooring, they just carried past.
Small.
You know that big picture on it?
They had Southland. The Southland was square. That had point.
Yeah, that's the one right up in
the Southland. And they had
Susquehanna.
yeah, Susquehanna. That came from up on the Susquehanna River. They brought it down here.
The ozone.
Yeah, you gotta have your mouth.
Yeah, well, it must have been
Yeah, man.
Last one that run.
They took off.
I had two chameleons. Chameleon number 1 and chameleon number 2. They called them the new chameleon. The new chameleon is the one that has metal all around.
Well, it said, I asked the difference in that. I asked somebody, there wasn't no difference, they just put a job on it, cleaned it up. They called it the new chameleon.
Yeah, well, but they put a copper.
Well,
sheet copper sheet all over. You see, keep the barnacles from beating it up.
well, it's stayed up now.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's down in the river. You seen where it was.
It'll be built all on top.
Now, when those boats run out there, they used to have a trolley that run out to the boat landing.
Motor car went out there. That was that's when we had the motor car line went to Covington.
That's right close
That
to your
was
house.
that was I think the one that got that the instigator to get that deal going was what the devil was it? They're right next door to Duval's on that side there. Bud was the one that got that motor car line started. The parish, I think, had put a tax on to get it operated. It operated for a little while, but the taxes were paid, but never did make any money.
Yeah, but after the wharf got knocked down, it quit running out there. Just stopped at Valley
Well,
Fans.
you take the one where Joseph Weaver and what was the name of that? That wharf was out in front of East Portman's house, right? That's where the railroad used to come out there in right up around 1898 or something, I think. That railroad ended up. It went to the lake shore.
Was that the railroad or the motor car?
Railroad.
East Louisiana Railroad.
The East Louisiana Railroad came out to the beach, and then they had a wharf out there, and that's where the boats used to land. Oh, man, it's right on the end of my tongue, the name of that wharf. Oh, they had that Portland boy here.
I had Millennium Airseed in the paper about 6 months ago.
You see the Camellia, the Camellia,
run through. I have it at the house. I'll bring it to you.
the Camellia stopped at Knoxville, Mandeville, Lewisburg, and Madisonville.
They're named out the old wharf in Lewisburg,
The Camellia Wharf, right out
still hung to it.
The wharf is still there. I can't remember the name of that wharf, but the railroad came out there. It didn't run off. The only reason the railroad come there because it was just like a sideline, because they were running lines all over the woods picking up logs, you see, and they were bringing them switches right into it, but it came right on to Lewisburg. That was the East Louisiana Railroad.
It came right alongside of Portland.
Right, Portland's house. That's where the depot was. That was termination.
Right through that swamp in the back.
Right down the side of the law.
That old motor car passed right by your house.
Yeah, right down the side of my house. The motor car line came through there, came through Foley.
What they did with those logs back
Where they
then?
brought those logs
What were they doing with the logs? You said they were spreading out.
They were shipping them, or
They went to Tylertown, Mississippi.
There was Powell.
Plenty of them went to Tylertown, Mississippi. And right there in Slidell, they had another sawmill. And in the meantime, there was opening up a sawmill in Lewisburg later on.
in 1913.
Then that sawmill come to Lewisburg.
He was a baby.
I was
when
born the day they opened the sawmill, and 12 years later on my birthday they closed it.
12 years. How long they operated? That's
Yep.
all.
To the
I don't see how they could cut that much timber in 12 years. Joseph Smith opened a butcher shop, right? Going in towards the commissary.
In the commissary, finally, or next
Them
door.
Smiths had cattle. The whole family lived off the cattle butcher. They had butcher cattle, and the whole family lived off of them butcher shops. Evelyn couldn't eat just as good as old man Joe could.
Let me tell you something about the Smith's butcher shop. Don't print this other than what you got there. When Uncle Joe then had the meat market across from the old firehouse down by the church.
Yeah.
When he moved from Lewisburg, they used to drive cattle from Mississippi. So they went up there, bring some cattle back, and on one of his trips he brought a family of Afro-Americans and moved them in there. And I don't think they stayed there more than 2 nights, but I remember one moonlight night, you could see them coming along the fence with the shotguns. And they got over there and they shot every window out the house. The next morning, I think they went back to Mississippi. Remember that night?
Yeah. Now they call it Ku Klux Klan.
They moved to Lewisburg in the old home where they, Alec and all of them were born.
My daddy made that meat counter for him. That was the only piece of timber I saw that he used. We cut a magnolia down for him and he took his axe and
Uncle Dave and Uncle Murray, I don't think Papa got in on that deal. He didn't have a gun.
Vernon, sister, Ella.
Well, down
tell
this
a
old
story.
house is the old home, old Joe Smith homestead, right? That's the old homestead.
Where?
David's house.
No.
Well, yeah, where Poop and them live.
That was Grandma Smith. Oh yeah. Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that,
Oh yeah.
that was Harriet's house, Harriet and Robbie, and they raised their family there. Then right across the street, old man Joe raised his family right across
And that's
the
where
street.
he moved his Coach
Where-
family in.
where-
They shot all of them.
Right across the street there is where that little yellow house is that the redhead owned. Right in that lot. That was the old Joe Smith. Do you remember that house? Big old 1x12, big old 1x12 whitewashed building. And another one. Well, here's something else. T.L. Dobie says that Rollins always owned the Riley place where T.L. lives now. How wrong he is, well, even before Marinoni, that was one of Joe Smith's, Joe Homespell's daughters married Zachariah Strange. And that was her share of land where T.L. Dobie is now. In other words, it was when she got married to Strain, well, her daddy gave her that little piece of ground right there to build a house on. And that's where they lived for a long time. That building was whitewashed 1x12, a long building in there. And then later on, I don't know when it's tore it down. I was a little kid when they tore it down. I don't remember that.
I keep asking the question, you know, if y'all got something y'all want to talk about, but up here in the state park, where the old buildings used to be, where the governor was, no, well, I was going to ask about that too, but what governor was that? Lesh? They built all that up in there where the golf course was going and all of that stuff?
Anyway.
What do you mean, going towards Cullington?
Right by the bayou.
Bayou Cane, where
Country
Club. State Park.
Oh, that building when Les was in there, that crooked bunch, what was his name, that right here by the bayou? They was building a building right in there.
What's his name?
You back was hooked up into that thing.
And that stayed with
Rankin.
Lash and Gilback
the house on the other.
Who was that? Rankin, right.
I think where that Gilback is now is the one that this Frenchman, the cook, what's his name? Wears suspenders. I think he's got that place now.
Yeah, Wilson.
That
Justin
was
Wilson.
Rankin, huh?
Oh,
It was Rankin, right?
yeah, he just sold it. That cool ass.
Yeah, he's a cool ass.
Justin Wilson.
Justin Wilson.
Justin Wilson. Yeah, Justin Wilson. He tries to talk on ass, but he can't.
Come on, Ernest, you give us something here around.
I don't know anything
Oh,
old. That's the trouble, you know.
No, he's too young.
That's right. I can only tell you about newer things. If I say it in front of my wife, now, I remember Mr. Fritz when I was about 6 years old. My grandfather took me down to the ballpark on Jackson Avenue, and I don't know what the Mandeville team was, and Mr. Fritz was all dressed up in his baseball outfit. I think Harry Prieta may have been playing with him, I'm not sure. But I was just a little kid, and I remember them playing ball down there. Tell us about that, Mr. Fritz. Tell us about the baseball team.
Oh, they had a pretty good baseball team. But they used to, when they first started, Mr. Bullery used to run the team. And if Covington beat Mandeville, and he'd hire some New Orleans players to make a better team. Then they'd beat Covington, they'd switch it about every time, hiring new players.
Remember Charlie Downs that played on that team?
Charlie Downs.
Yeah.
Charlie Downs played on that team.
Yeah, he got it concentrated.
$4 to come out of New Orleans to come play to beat Reno Hill.
You know where he is now? It's nursing home.
Oh, go ahead.
He's been out there over a year.
Pop up Charlie.
Yeah, I know they used to call him
Pop up Charlie. Remember that?
Does he know
Do it every time he used to play golf.
And they brought in that left-hand pitcher, like the Hotard.
You remember the time you locked me in the cooler?
Yeah,
We had a latch on that cooler only on the outside, not on the inside. And I went in there to get some meat or something, and we went and run there and shut the door and latched it on there.
What about the dummy from Madisonville?
That was something old done.
Yeah, that's good.
Boy, they used to put him in jail there, and boy, they had to turn him out. He hollered all night.
He was scared to death of a knife.
Yeah, he was scared of a
Boy,
knife.
he was a big bully, but he was scared of a knife.
Fellow would take him, put him on the, bring him to the highway and tell him, go on to Madisonville now. I don't believe they ever brought him up to court.
What was the name of that guy who used to catch for Slidell all the time? Man, forgot his
He
name.
and Henry
Yeah.
Smith, they were just like two bulldogs.
Oh, man. He was always, no matter what they threw it over the plate on, it was wrong.
Walk the wall.
Walk the walls, that's right.
Boy, when Slidell and Mandeville met, they had to get every policeman that they could rake and scrape from the parish here.
Well, Madisonville was like that.
Yeah.
That Madisonville, they'd make Mandeville swim that river.
What about when they played Pearl River? They whipped you one way or another.
That must have been bad a long time with Madisonville and Mandeville, because my daddy told me that they went over there to watch a baseball game, and Mama had an umbrella in her hand. And she got in the argument with Fianna Chatelaire. And Mama got to beating that woman with that umbrella. And they had about 5 or 6 people had to separate them, but they never did get to see the ball game. Somebody come rode them across the river in a boat, and they had to stay on that side until the rest come over and took them home.
Fianna's Jack's mother.
Yeah.
Hey, Lou, tell them about all the good Johnny. Yesterday we was talking, he come by the house, and I told him, I said, you the guy used to steal all the Chinese from him. And he started talking about ball bearings. Tell him about that. What they used to do you down at
Cook the show. Used to go there. Cooker, you got some ball bearings? Yeah, son, look on the table over there. They got some over there. And boy, when you reach in there to get that ball bearing, he can almost knock you down. He had that thing wide there.
Grab a handful and good move.
Gladys was there working with Cooksey. So he walked outside and he put that stocking over his head. He walked back in there. Sharp, you got a cigarette? And Cooksey, man, he hated to look at him, you know, they were terrible looking. So, son, I should have some around here. Well, get him, don't mess around there. And he had Cooksey so excited he didn't know where he was at. By that time, the fella drove up putting gas in for Cooksey. Rivers walked out there and said, look, I know you're going to Covington. I want to ride with you. Well, son, I'm going towards Slidell. He said, well, I'll go to Slidell, too. So every Saturday night, Preston, Ben Morgan would get a pint of whiskey, and when he closed the store, we would kill that pint. So I told Mike, I said, Mike, Philip Smith was there. I said, Mike, I'm going home to get that stocking now. I said, don't let Philip fight me. He said, oh, I'll watch him. So, man, I went home, got that stocking, walked back in there, and, man, Mike Ritson, he was hugging me all over. Man, where have you been? I hadn't saw you in so many years. Philip, you know that fella? He'd never put his foot in Mandeville before, I guarantee you that. I couldn't take it much longer, and I took that stocking off, and man, Philip left. That's a horrible looking sight.
What was the name of the old black man who used to work for Cootsy? He used to hang around there all the time.
Luke Foster.
Oh, Luke Foster, that's right. That's what I had.
Well, that's the one.
That's the one Calvin took up there, played put upside down.
Oh, is that the one?
Yeah, his hat flew off, floated right on down over there to my Cook's garage. Brought that nigga back, he never did talk good anymore.
He was playing music after that.
All them bosses used to play
Yeah, the band.
Yeah, old consumer.
And Fumble played that big old fiddle, that bass fiddle.
Mr. Peter was talking about the sugar mill and not plantation out there. Did you remember about that?
They say that they had a brickyard out at Last Plantation, and from what information I find, I can't find that where they had a brickyard out there.
I never did
But
know too much about it. That was a far place from Lewisburg.
Knox was supposed to
I went out there when I was here, got a horse, and rode through that old mill, was gone already. But the whole plantation was in sugarcane at one time.
Yeah,
The whole lake.
all the way up to Sharps. The sugarcane roads is still showing in
The
there.
roads was there at that time anyway.
My daddy was in charge of that plantation at one time.
Lenny, you
Like
know
a
who has-
watchman over it or something.
Do you know who has more or less the history of that? Is, what's that guy that run for mayor never gets elected? The usher at church.
Al Shea?
Al Shea.
Oh, why would he have it?
Hal has
Well, they evidently had a brickyard there somewhere, because where the Knott's Wharf is full of bricks. So they either were loading bricks on schooners there and hauling them to New Orleans. And I wouldn't be, if they hauled bricks to there, they used for something. There'd be more bricks than that.
I heard they had a brickyard there, but
They
I don't
got to have a brickyard there somewhere.
I know that when the wharf blinked, them bricks went down. You've seen them there already. All I need to
Well, I thought them bricks was there. It's all bats. So evidently, while they were loading the bricks, rolling them out there with wheelbarrows and loading them on the schooners, the bats going to New Orleans wouldn't be no good to them. So they just threw the bats overboard. And I think that's why the bats accumulated right where that wharf is. Because they used to go to New Orleans about a schooner load. Because they had a nigger, a free slave nigger, well, a free black. They had about 15 slaves of his own, and right where the primate center is now, he had a brickyard in there. And the records where I read about it, he was a very successful brick man over here.
Well, you're talking about Demeril Brickyard, huh?
No, that's a different one.
Different one?
It's a different one. It was down close to where, in other words, he took 3 loads, schooner loads of bricks to New Orleans a couple of times a week. And he owned 3 schooners, that's all they did. He had them
Demeril back of
His name Booker?
Yeah.
Parker. Booker? Was it Booker?
I ran across some bookers that own property out there.
Yeah.
Well, do y'all remember the first name of Demeril's brickyard? What was his first name?
That's all you had,
Demeril, don't it?
Demeril is all.
I can find out though. I can look in the book on them. I'll find out if give the full name.
Well, I got an old brick here, and it's JD on here.
I think his name was James. He used to own all up around the railroad track.
Yeah.
Between Manville Highway and Beetle Highway.
Does he like?
Whole Batchberry.
That's an
This-
antique.
Yeah.
This was, y'all remember where the old house we did and Mother had on the very corner there? Well, I was digging there in the yard and that's where I dug this up. This evidently was one of the foundation bricks or something.
Well, plenty of people used to put them around flower beds on an angle, too.
Could have been Mr. Levy bring that around to hide his whiskey.
Kept it cool.
Baby, we better go. Butcher's gonna come back by.
Do you remember
Butcher's
when
coming
they
back by.
used to ship the
Said
lumber
we've been
to
out before.
New Orleans and put the whiskey in the hole and schooners?
Captain Croce hauled that stuff, didn't he push the barges?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
Jimmy Reed.
I'm talking about it out of
Jimmy
Lewisburg.
Reed was captain.
No, Alabama.
Oh, I think I know whose boat that was.
Loaded wood all day and whiskey all night.
Cal was asking the other day.
They were just ahead of the time. They knew that was a bad law.
Captain Croce, he used to come by Seymour Smith's all the time. And I think he bought a Model A ton truck of Seymour. And I don't know how come they come to Seymour's all the time. But he had run the tugboat for Porter. And he used to fish, and he used to have sheephead and crocus for sale. He kept them in the fish car in Lewisburg. Y'all don't remember Captain Croce?
Yeah.
Little short man. Drunk all the time. He didn't know what it was to be sober.
Lenny, that brick you had must be the one that they used to build a wall between heaven and hell. They got a hole in the wall. So St. Peter went to the devil, told him to fix the hole. He said, it's not my wall, it's your wall. So St. Peter told him, said, I'll sue you. And the devil said, well, you can get a lawyer.
I would take that. I would take that.
That's a jelly joke now.
Old man Alex Van, the old man.
Going picking on you,
He used to come over there, the old man on his brother's store. Every morning. In the winter time. And he'd put his hand, warm up, you know. And his dog joined it, you know. He'd sit there. When we share a little closer. He never put a piece of wood in there. When the fire go down.
A blender would term a very heavily peated malt, very
It's almost
smoky.
medicinal.